Making inferences. This is a comprehension skill we all use. We know that reading is thinking. One of the things that we do when we read is to make inferences or to infer. The text says, when you infer, you combine what is in the text with your own knowledge to figure something out that is not directly stated in the text. This means that you use what you read and what you know to figure something out that the author didn't directly say. Here's a photo from your text. It has a paragraph that's from the active listening reading story that I read to you. When I read this paragraph, I'm going to be looking for words that I already understand so that I can get the gist or the main idea of what this passage is about. As I read this paragraph, I see that Congress, the group of people who make laws, is looking at Jefferson's draft. And I know that a draft is something that you write. It says during a 3-day period from late Tuesday, July 2nd through Thursday, July 4th, the delegates, that's the people responsible for speaking for other people, went over the document word by word. Jefferson, justly proud of his composition, squirmed in his seat. Squirmed, Jefferson is not feeling so good about stuff. Listening in unhappy silence as whole paragraphs were taken out as new words and phrases were added. In all, nearly 100 changes were made. Jefferson's text was cut by about a fourth. John Adams believed that Congress worked to get some real improvements into the text, but also obliterated some of the best of it. So now I'm thinking, what is the gist of this? I look how Jefferson squirmed in his seat, that they took out whole paragraphs, and those guys were the delegates, so these were some important people. New words were added, so they were thinking about what they were trying to say, making sure it's just right. They made 100 changes almost. They made some real improvements, but they also took out some of the things that Jefferson did that John Adams felt were good. So I think that the main idea of this passage is that Jefferson worked hard to make a good draft, but there were some changes that need to be made. Now we're looking at a graphic organizer. This one's also from your textbook. In this graphic organizer, I can see 2 columns. I see that I'm supposed to be reading something from the text, and then I'm supposed to be thinking about it. Remember when we said that reading is thinking? And so for this example, we copied this quote from the text. During a 3-day period from late Tuesday, July 2nd through Thursday, July 4th, the delegates went over the document word by word. And so in this example, it said that the delegates were very concerned that the Declaration say exactly what they wanted. So when we think this, it says, I understand that the Declaration must be important. They want it to be exactly the right way because it's going to be a document that everybody's going to use. I also see that John Adams believed that the Congress had worked some real improvements into it. And so here again, we see that the Declaration was a very important document that many people made contributions to. Contribution means that they gave their thoughts to it also. So now I'm thinking about everything that I'm reading and everything that I know. I know that Jefferson did a lot of hard work because I know when I draft a piece of writing, I think about it a lot. But I also know from my experiences that when people work together to make something, it can be really important and it can have a lot of ideas that maybe reach more people. So I can infer that this document that was worked on by the delegates, though it was hard for Jefferson to sit and listen to some of that work be taken apart, he understood that it was important and that this document would be used by a lot of people. We know that reading is thinking. As we think about inferring, We know that we're going to be looking at the text, thinking about what is the gist or the main idea of it, putting it with other texts that we've read or ideas that we've learned from text, learned from our own experiences, or learned from watching TV or movies. We're putting what we see in the text with what we already know. As we read, we make inferences.